cost of investing in AI, always follow the quote that Homi Bhabha had said about nuclear energy. Is that cost of not investing in AI will be more than the cost of investing in AI. You see, very often there is a saying somebody coined which says data is the new oil. In fact, somebody said that data is the new oil and data centers are the new refinery. The number of AI users who are there in India will far exceed the number of such users anywhere else in the world. Similarly, people, very often it's also said that AI will take away jobs. But again, there I say that it's not that AI will take away jobs. People with AI skills will take the jobs of people without AI skills, and this will apply to every domain. We conceptualize India datasets platform, which has been branded as AI Kosh, which is a repository of datasets from various domains from both public sector and private sector. Hallucinations are common, wrong responses are common. So we need to realize that this is a tool, but this tool has to be used in a particular manner. Human in the loop has to be mandatory. You can't take an output from a AI tool and use it like verbatim. That will be disaster.
Hello and welcome to the ET AI podcast. I'm your host, Deepak Ajwani from the Economic Times. Today we have with us Mr. Abhishek Singh, one of India's foremost leaders driving the country's AI transformation. He currently serves as the Director General of NIC, as Additional Secretary METI, and as the CEO of IndiaAI Mission, an ambitious national program that plans to build India's sovereign AI stack. He has earlier led platforms that touch millions daily. Platforms such as MyGov, NEGD, Digital India Corporation, and Karmayogi Bharat. Each a cornerstone of how India uses technology for citizen engagement and digital governance. Today, as CEO of IndiaAI Mission, he's driving one of the world's most ambitious public AI ecosystems, with 34,000 GPUs under AIRAWAT, 3,000 plus datasets on AI Kosh, and open inclusive initiatives like Bhashini for Indian languages. Hi Abhishek, a warm welcome for the ET AI podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to join you.
I'll start with your personal AI journey. You're the CEO of IndiaAI Mission, and prior to that, you had an illustrious career. But let me start with the start when it comes to education. IIT Kanpur and then an IAS. What a combination. A technology guy turning into a technocrat. Why did you choose to be in the bureaucracy?
So like when we were growing up, I grew up in Ranchi, a small town, and at that point of time, the opportunities of higher education were limited. And one of the measures of your performance, your family's performance, was whether you could qualify for the IITs or the medical colleges or not. So I wrote the IIT exams, which was a fad in that town, without realizing whether I am destined to be an engineer or not. I got through, I joined IIT Kanpur Mechanical Engineering, and within the few weeks, I realized that I am not designed to be an engineer. So I went back, I had admission at Stephens at that point of time. I went back home and asked my dad, can I leave IIT Kanpur and join economics at Stephens? He said, no ways that I can tell my colleagues and family members that you have dropped out of IIT. It will be like social prestige that was associated with that. So I continued with the IIT, somehow managed to complete the 4 years of engineering there, but then I had taken a decision call that I will do anything but engineering. So, and then of course, I decided to write civil services because I did not want to go abroad. I wanted to live in India. So, and civil services was something that was fascinating. I've seen my father, he was a bank manager, work with civil servants in India, and he would always talk about various schemes that the government was implementing to empower people. I was motivated to be able to do something to transform the country, to help people navigate their lives. So that was what was attracted me to civil services. I was lucky to get through, and that's how I joined the civil services after completing my engineering at IIT Kanpur.
So would it be fair to say that you entered IIT because of your skills and your intelligence, but you entered the bureaucracy and cleared the IS exams because you were passionate and you wanted to do it?
That too, plus I would say that the IS exam, there's a lot of luck out there with the number of people who write and the number of people who get through. I don't think IITs, of course, one can say that it's a measure of your ability to learn maths and physics and the sciences. But the IS, it's more a matter of luck and perseverance. And
You're being modest. People take years together to clear IS, and once they do it, they wear it as a badge of honor. You're saying it's more a matter of luck, is it?
it's definitely a badge of honor, but I would just say that there are many colleagues, many friends who were probably smarter than me, who probably worked harder than me, and unfortunately they didn't get through. And I was lucky enough to get through. So that way, I think luck does play a matter. Of course, there is 90% hard work. But then the whole thing is so skewed, the number of people appearing for these examinations and number of people getting through. So the 10% of luck that ultimately decides whether you get through or whether you don't.
Interesting. So this brings me to the question on AI. You're the head of India AI mission. Was it luck? Was it serendipity? How did you, someone who was doing digital governance and digital transformation, land up taking this job as the CEO of India AI mission?
See, like it's civil servants, we do not have a choice in choosing our postings, and the government decides what's the best for you, and then you kind of are required to deliver, perform in the roles that are given.
Is it my government that decide what's the best, or did it decide who's the best to take?
I don't know. Government decides what I can do the best, and based on
your skill set.
Based on my skill sets, based on the requirement that is there, based on one's background, based on one's ability in what we have done in our previous roles. In this case, of course, the AI and digital government are quite linked. Like when I was in this ministry, in fact, this is my second stint in this ministry. In fact, way back in 2009, I served in this ministry only as a deputy secretary and director. I was part of the National E-Governance Plan. I was leading the Common Service Centers project and the E-District project. So in a way, digital government and IT was something that always fascinated me. I worked in the same sector in the state also, and also as the ED IT in Food Corporation of India. So when in this role I was heading digital government, then a part of making services accessible to people at large required making services accessible in all languages and using voice as a medium for accessing services. And the amount of data that we are generating, it also gave, in part of digital government, you were like trying to see in what ways I can use data to improve service delivery, in what ways service like DigiLocker can result in ease of living. So a lot of projects in the digital government space had an AI component. So AI was a natural fit. So we were already doing...
you were taking baby steps already in the world of AI by virtue of working in the digital government.
Yes, and a part of digital government, I was part of the team that to work together to conceptualize the AI mission.
Abhishek, you've seen India's digital evolution and switched from e-governance and prepared the government and are working at AI governance. When CEOs across the world are grappling with this question of how does one take the leap, some call it a leap of faith, of investments in AI. But before they even make the investment, what is the mind shift change that one needs to be prepared for to get into the entire AI governance model?
See, like on the cost of investing in AI, I always take to follow the quote that Homi Bhabha had said about nuclear energy. Is that cost of not investing in AI will be more than the cost of investing in AI. So for a country like India, which has got such a huge talent capital and so much of our engineers and our companies are building tech products for across the world for a long time, we itself in India have built the digital public infrastructure. We stand to gain a lot by investing in AI. So all companies who are thinking whether they should or not, they will ultimately come to this conclusion that if they don't, then they have the possibilities of being kind of overrun by companies who have done. Similarly, people, very often it's also said that AI will take away jobs. But again, there I say that it's not that AI will take away jobs. People with AI skills will take the jobs of people without AI skills. And this will apply to every domain. This will apply not only to engineering and this will computer science, but it will apply to law, it will apply to journalism, it will apply to sciences, it will apply to medicine, it will apply to liberal arts. Every field will feel that. So this is a technology which is like like a horizontal technology. It's like electricity. It cuts across all domains. So it will be required for everyone to do. So earlier, the CEOs and those who are stakeholders get to understand how it works and adapt to it, it will be better for all. And then the gains, the flip side, the benefits that will accrue, especially with the efficiency gains, with the productivity gains, will be immense. Like, for example, when we use AI, what do we use it for? Most people use it for being able to do more with less. If I have to summarize a document, if I have to write a document, I have my thoughts. I give a dictation that I need to write an article or a paper with these 10 thoughts. The AI curates that. It helps me save time. If I have to compare two documents, if I have two balance sheets with lots of numbers and I have to compare that, I am able to use AI to do that in lesser time. So it's making me more efficient, it's making me say more productive. Similarly, there are AI applications that will transform the same efficiency and productivity gains to a farmer. So the farmer's income will go up. He will be able to analyze what crop he should go, what kind of ingredients he should use, how he should optimize his cost. A retailer or a small businessman will be able to again reduce his costs and increase his income. So the efficiency and productivity gains are there to be harnessed.
They outweigh. So you're saying that as a CEO, it's a no-brainer. The opportunity lost is more expensive than someone who's attempting to tap into the opportunity.
Correct.
If you don't do it, somebody else will do it, and you'll be left wondering why you didn't even try.
They will be at the risk of.
So it's an existential question.
Correct.
And you better jump into it and figure out, sink or swim, but you at least attempt.
Correct.
And that's what you would say. Great. You've said, India's AI journey must reflect our languages, our cultural context. It should not replicate the global model. But how does this idea of sovereign AI translate into real impact for businesses? Today, when you insist that, don't learn everything from the global models, make your own models, and have a cultural context, Bhashini is one project around it. But for people who are investing or startups who are attempting, for them, they want results faster and monetizable. So what's the real impact that you see from a business lens when one attempts everything Indian based on Indian data sets?
See, like if you look at the statements of all the major AI companies, whether it's Anthropic, whether it's OpenAI, whether it's Google or Perplexity, all of them are looking at India as a market. And they know that the number of AI users who are there in India will far exceed the number of such users anywhere else in the world.
And they are English adopters.
English plus a lot of intelligence. We are known as a knowledge society. Our engineers write code for almost every big company in the world. So they know that, and whenever you use AI, you are not only using it for your benefit, you are also contributing to making the models smarter, you are contributing to making the models better. So if you continue to use Western models, which are very good in many ways, then you are benefiting to some extent, but at the same time, you are also helping that model to become better. So at some point of time, the dependency will go up. And then for any Indian company to catch up with any such model will be very, very difficult. So to ensure that we retain our sovereign AI ambitions and to ensure that we have at least a few products from Indian origin, which are not only trained in Indian models, Indian languages and Indian context and Indian culture and traditions and the repository of Indian knowledge, but they are also able to be better than what the Western models are. And that's the opportunity that we are trying to look at and not miss out and forever be dependent on the foreign model.
But what's the lesson here for people or companies outside, like you talked about, Anthropic, OpenAI? For them, India market is a huge market. Adoption here would mean a rocket growth, a hockey stick growth, as they say in the graph. For them, what do they need to do to come to India, train everything on Indian mindsets or Indian data sets?
They're already trying that because they also want their models to be as accurate as possible, as representative of Indian datasets as they would like it to be. So they are also, it's not that they have any bias against Indian language or Indian datasets. They are trying to train their models as well in Indian languages.
Is Indian government attempting or helping them in any form and manner?
we are not helping them in any form or the manner, but we are not like a country like China. We are not prohibiting them from operating in India.
You're not close to the system.
Yeah.
We are most welcome to
we
come
have been
and try.
Yeah, we have been welcoming to the big tech, and somehow there may be some people who may take a debate that maybe what the Chinese did by blocking the big tech, the Googles and the Metas of the world, their own industry grew. But India's tradition has not been that. India's tradition has been to build your own products and compete with the best and try to stand up. So, and that's our main strength. So while we are allowing those models to operate, but it doesn't foreclose the opportunity for us to make our own models, which might end up to be as efficient and as better as those models.
Under India AI mission, India has made massive investment for compute infrastructure. From 600 GPUs today, we are at 34,000 already. What kind of opportunities does this open up for Indian startups? How do they get benefited? And what is the process like if they want to get benefited from the GPUs that you're making available?
See, GPUs are an essential component when you're training models or when you're building applications. GPUs are the compute infrastructure that is required for being able to do that. And for that was a major gap that was identified when we did the consultations in 2023. So one of the objectives of the India AI mission was to make available a minimum of 10,000 GPUs for use by Indian researchers, Indian startups, Indian industry. So we came out with a very innovative model in which instead of government buying GPUs and running the data centers ourselves, we thought that let's incentivize the private industry for investing into the compute, and we provide subsidy to the end user. So the end user gets it at a lower cost. And through this process, we ended up getting not 34,000, but now 38,000. So 38,000 GPUs at a very low cost. The subsidized average cost is around 65 rupees per GPU per hour, which is less than $1 per GPU per hour compared to the global prices or the market prices of $2.5 to $3 per GPU per hour. So that enabled that access to GPUs was possible for the startups and the industry partners who wanted to use it, or researchers, at a subsidized cost. And what we also did was that we built up a portal called compute.indiaai.gov.in, on which those who are needing GPUs can go there, can make the request, and then there's a process which sees for what purpose they are trying to use, and within no time those approvals are given and people get access to the GPUs.
Great. My next question is around AI Kosh. Can you briefly help us explain what is AI Kosh?
See, as I mentioned, talent we have, compute that is required, and the third ingredient that is required for building AI models or training AI applications or building AI applications is data. India, since we have done a lot of digitization, we are a huge country, we have 1 billion plus people, we do have a lot of data sets, but very often these data sets are not AI usable, in the sense that they are either they are not complete, either they are not following metadata standards, or their time series data is not there, or this data is not accessible through APIs. To be able to use these data for training models or building applications, you need access to them in a seamless manner. So that was not there. So what we did was that we conceptualized India Datasets platform, which has been branded as AI Kosh, which is a repository of datasets from various domains from both public sector and private sector, and making it available in a easy to access manner on this platform.
So you're opening it up, making them accessible to begin with, and you're keeping them AI ready.
Yeah.
So then there can be mass adoption and mass usage.
Exactly.
Which leads to much more awareness of all the
building application, the opportunity to build world-class apps.
So this will be available for researchers, students, entrepreneurs across the ecosystem,
Yes.
I would assume.
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's a big development, because we at the Economic Times use huge amount of data, more so the economic data. And if that becomes more easily accessible for us to be able to churn out verified, accurate information, becomes much faster and better.
Exactly.
So that's how AI and journalism meet together. So thanks
And
for
that's
that.
how, when you see, very often there is a saying somebody coined which says data is the new oil. But if you don't make data available and accessible, then this whole ability of seeing the value of data when you compare it to oil doesn't happen. In fact, somebody said that data is the new oil and data centers are the new refineries.
True. And what is AI? Is it the pipeline that connects all,
AI is
or
the
is it
value
the intelligence
AI
layer
is
over?
the energy that's created by using data for creating, for making ease of living and ease of doing business.
Right. Okay. Under the India AI Development Initiative, there are sectors like climate, healthcare, agriculture, governance, and education, they're receiving a huge amount of focus, and some are also getting funding. Uh, can you give us some examples of some headways or breakthrough that India has already seen or witnessed in these sectors, and where AI has moved from not just the pilot stage but moved ahead to an impact stage, be it climate or any other areas that you?
There are several use cases, because ultimately the whole endeavor for building these AI models or getting compute or data sets is not the end in itself. Ultimately, usage of AI should benefit the common man in being able to benefit from better services. So, for example, in healthcare, you can use AI to diagnose tuberculosis. You can use AI to diagnose breast cancer. And what happens is that many parts of the country, you might have, say, X-ray machines or MRI machines, but you may not have qualified radiologists who can read those X-rays. So what the AI does is that it's able to see an image and
give an early intervention,
give an outcome, whether that person will have tuberculosis or likely to have breast cancer or not. So screening becomes better. So that's one use case. In climate, use of AI for predicting floods. For example, we know that these are the areas with a flood prone within Assam or Patna or Bihar. So Bihar, we did a project in which we kind of got data, rainfall data, the river water level data, the areas which are prone to inundation, historical data with regard to flooding, and we were able to use this data sets to build up an AI model which will predict at least 2 to 3 days in advance that these areas are likely to be flooded. And then with the mass media communications, we are able to alert the people to evacuate that areas and save lives.
Right.
So in agriculture, there have been models which are giving advisories to farmers with regard to what they should be sowing, what kind of fertilizer they should be using, what kind of pesticide they can be using. So ultimately, it benefits the farmers in a big way.
The India AI startup also has a funding program, and it's enabling financing, which was one of the biggest bottlenecks. Access now is relatively easier through the efforts that you all are making for early and growth stage AI startups, with partnerships like Station F, HASC Paris now already underway. What we wanted to understand is that what does the roadmap look like for tier 2 and tier 3? It's always the urban towns and startups in bigger cities which get access to these funds. How is the government enabling access to the funds to the tier 2, tier 3 and maybe tier 4 town startups or entrepreneurs who want to tap into it?
See, startups who are working on AI applications, they need funding support, and they need funding support at their pre-seed level, seed level. So these innovation challenges have been one way to provide funding support to them. We are also working with accelerators and incubators to come out with a model in which we'll be providing funding support through a fund of funds in which we'll co-invest with the startups. That program is currently under development, will be announced very soon. And then we are also connecting them to accelerators like the Station F in Paris and HEC Paris. So they provide the mentoring support, they provide the marketing support, they provide them guidance with regard to how to access funds. The startup pillar is a very important pillar under the India AI mission, which will ensure that startups get support when they need it the most. So that's what is being done.
Is there an awareness or outreach activity happening for tier 2, tier 3 towns also?
Yes, what we are also doing is that we are setting up centers for excellence in all states now. We have a scheme under which earlier we had 4 centers of excellence in Visakhapatnam, in Gurgaon, in Bangalore and Gandhinagar. Now that scheme has been expanded to set up centers for excellence under which support will be provided to startups in the form of working space, in the form of seed funds across the country. So that will ensure that we will be able to nurture startups who are working in smaller towns and cities and build applications that might not be possible in a Bangalore or a Pune.
What becomes important is for companies who are already on this journey, how do they go about reskilling their own team for AI? Because today it's not just the educators or the techies who are experiencing AI. AI is entered everywhere. Medical, law, finance, governance, everywhere now AI is going to get impacted and used. How does one retrain, reskill the existing AI team? How have you been doing in your own team, for instance?
See, like it requires. In fact, I will go back to my Karam Yogi days, in which we felt that emerging technologies and artificial intelligence is something which every civil servant will learn. So we got a course created, Introduction to Emerging Technologies, and which kind of talked about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, AR, VR. And this course, we even got the Prime Minister's Office and DOPT to make it mandatory for all government servants. And this is today, as of today, one of the most subscribed courses on the platform. We also built a lot of courses with regard to how to use ChatGPT, how to use Gemini. So even do's and don'ts, because very often people start using them, these tools like search engine, wherein there's a lot of value that can come from these tools if you go beyond prompt engineering as a skill. How you prompt, what inputs you give makes the responses much better. So we built a course on I Got Karam Yogi. Within our organizations, we have been conducting workshops, in-person workshops, training systems, in which we not only expose people to the advantages of using AI, but we also tell them what are the risks of using AI. So there are
You get them on all fronts then.
Because hallucinations are common, wrong responses are common. So we need to realize that this is a tool, but this tool has to be used in a particular manner. Human in the loop has to be mandatory. You can't take a output from a AI tool and use it like verbatim. That will be disaster. So we kind of have worked on these models.
Human oversight and thereby the human...
In government, we have started using it for dictation services. So very often we do a lot of dictations in all languages, translation services, in telemedicine, when a doctor and a patient is talking, like eSanjeevani platform, very often the patient will talk in his own language, which the doctor may not be able to follow.
Right.
We have built a tool in which the patient speaks in his language, the doctor speaks in his language, and both of them understand each other because they are hearing or in their own language.
Their own languages.
So that's again a transformation.
Remove the barrier of
language.
Anything that gets lost in translation as well.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I mean, to move something from inhibition to adoption is a massive challenge, and especially if you have a workforce which has already been trained on certain technologies, which is commendable that you've been able to achieve it. Here's a policy related question. From your vantage point, you're the CEO of India AI Mission. If you get a magic wand and here's your wish day, one policy, one infrastructure change or an ecosystem constraint that you would wish away with. If you got one wish, which you think if you wish for and gets granted, what would you wish for that brings about a 10x India AI adoption story?
Make more datasets available and accessible. So what happens is that many government departments are holding a lot of datasets, but sometimes there's a fear of the unknown. What if I share this data? What will something goes wrong? So fear of the unknown inhibits a lot of government departments to share datasets on AI Kosh. Our teams have to work really hard in trying to ensure that people understand this whole concept of AI Kosh, that data is still in their control, no data comes on our platform. They define the policies, who they are going to share with, who they are not going to share with, but it's not an easy task. Ministries have constraints in having data capacity. How do they define high-value data sets? How do they anonymize data sets? How do they use privacy preservation tools? How do they publish tools on data sets on AI Kosh? So that's just like a bottleneck we have. We have 3,000 data sets that we have published in the last 3 months, but I would like it to go to 300,000. No, because that's the time when I will be able to really harness and build AI applications that will transform lives of people. And if we are able to do that in India, it will become an example that we can give to the whole world. So that's something that we aspire for. That's something that I hope that we'll be able to do in the next 6 months.
So we've done a look back. Let's do this look ahead. In the next 2 to 3 years in your AI journey, how do you see evolving? What are the milestones you're targeting?
I really want our foundation models to come alive, which the teams that we have selected are building on it. I want an Indian foundation model which is different from the ChatGPTs of the world. I hope that it will be a voice-based LLM, because India voice is a tradition. We have multiple languages. Very often people are not very comfortable downloading things or entering things on an app, or even CAPTCHA is something that becomes, a lot of people lose interest when you have to do all of it. But if you have to talk to an app, or if you have to use a toll-free feature phone and call a toll-free number and give a query कि मेरे बच्चे को डायरिया हो रहा है, मैं क्या करूं, in your own mother tongue, and then the AI does the speech to text, and the text goes to AI engine, and then the reply comes in, and you hear in real time that बच्चे को ये आप नमक का पानी पिला दें. So
Give a solution.
Solution. So, and if this comes in mother tongue, if a farmer calls up saying that कि मेरे सरसों के खेत में पीले पत्ते हो रहे हैं, मैं क्या करूं? And then the caller says that okay, आप WhatsApp पे भेज दीजिए या कर दीजिए, बता दीजिए कैसे हो रहे हैं, and then the solution is given.
So ask, seek in your language, you get a verified, accurate answer. Again, back in your language.
Back in your language, without the need of कि आप हिंदी के लिए एक दबाएं, दो दबाएं. तो not a AIRAWAT protocol,
Right.
but something which is in real time, asking a query and getting a reply back in real time in mother tongue. So that's my dream, and I hope that in the next 6 to 9 months we'll be able to be there.
Lovely. Thanks, Abhishek. Thank you so much for the IndiaAI podcast.